Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for asking me to have the presentation. Activity 10, well, I had 5 sites, different kind of practices I tested in these different sites. Not enough time to get to the details, so I tried to really summarize everything and just present example of the result. There's much more detail into that. I have 2 publications and 3 or 4 is coming. We're working on that. I had a master's student that just finished last year on that project. So massive activity. I tried to be fast for the sake of the time. But I would like to thank you. It was a collaboration between the Prenia and here our research center. So we had Francisco T.S. from Prenia in Nova Scotia collaborated with us. Ismail Yassari is the master's student, Bill Rabi, my technician, and Melanie Jones is the university supervisor for the Ismail Yassari. The focus was on the sustainable viticulture, looking at the water retention, looking at the use of the amendment, organic amendment, especially vermicompost, and seaweed extract. So growers had interest to know about all these 3 things that are important. This morning we heard from Dr. Rashid about building resilience, especially in the viticulture, very important. We deal with all different kind of climate challenges, all different other market challenges and so on. So one of the aspects of the resilience is enhancing the yield stability from year to year. So it can, our production system can resist the up and downs of the climate and pressure, biotic and abiotic, and overall plant health. And with that, organic amendments play a very important role, as well as seaweed extract. And these are based on the literature. And then we would like to accelerate the carbon sequestration in our system, especially in the semi-arid region. We have very low carbon concentration in our soils, and carbon is extremely important. So adding organic amendments as well as cover crops, it can help with that. Sources of the nutrients, we're always looking for the alternative sources of the nutrients, non-chemical. So compost, vermicompost, again, very important, as well as for the pest management. We have these alternative products we used here, vermicompost tea. And for the drought resistance and water kind of holding capacity, increasing soil carbon can improve the water holding capacity, as well as these soil water retention system that never tested in the grapes or horticulture. We tested in this experiment. And of course, the biodiversity is extremely important, which we don't mention it in this experiment, cover cropping and reducing the agrochemicals. So 5-year study, we tested the biochar compost mixture using in the alleyway, as you see here in the picture. We used vermicompost, vermicompost tea, seaweed extract, and we used this membrane that we were hope that they can hold the water in the very sandy soil that we have in this region, and we tested the effect on the carbon nitrogen cycling, on the nutrients, and carbon sequestration, on the yield and yield quality, and other nutrients. First experiment conducted at the research station. This is how we installed the membranes. Soil water retention system that we're mentioning is here. Before establishment of the vineyard in 2018, we installed these U-shaped membranes, 45 centimeter depth. We have a Riesling on SO4, soil texture, very sandy, the usual soil of the region. And we tested with or without using these membranes, as well as using biochar compost in the alleyway. Moderate rate every other year, so 14.7 tons, metric tons per hectare only in the alleyway we use it. And we have irrigation treatment 100% and of ET and 50%. So reduced irrigation to see what are the effect of these management practices on various aspects of the grape. Here, we're looking at the yeast assimilable nitrogen. We see that these soil water retention systems at ET 100 and ET 50, we see that throughout reduce the leaching of the nitrogen relative to the no-sort, and that caused a higher yeast assimilable nitrogen in this treatment versus the other one, because we have high potential of losing nitrogen in these, and we measure that in 2 of our experiments, how much nitrogen we're losing from the system when we're adding that as a fertilizer. Biochar compost, it's enhanced. We had cover crops in the alleyway related to the non-amended at the 50%, which shows the improving the water holding capacity when we're using this mixture of biochar and compost. So both soil water retention and biochar compost, they improved and they acted the way that we expected from them. The second experiment is vermicompost. We applied vermicompost at 3 different rates, 2 tons per hectare, and it's only under the wine area. This is the 8 tons, so very thin layers. These are really rates. If you look at the other system, usually they're talking about 20, 30 tons of amendments or compost per hectare. These are very moderate rates. So we had the control that whatever grower did, we had our control that we didn't use any nitrogen. And we have 2 tons, 4 tons, and 8 tons. And this is the cumulative yield over time. So from 2019 to 2022. And we saw that without using the nitrogen fertilizer, just using these vermicompost, we improved the yield, and we have a comparable yield to the grower. The amount of nitrogen that we use in this system is a fraction of what the grower used, 1/7 of the amount that they use. So that gradual release of nutrients from the vermicompost, very helpful. Previously, in a greenhouse experiment, I showed that the grapes are very responsive to the vermicompost, and that's why we did this experiment to test that. In terms of the carbon, you see the line is the carbon and the bars are the nitrogen, and this is the control by the grower. And you see how much we improve. We almost double the amount of organic nitrogen from 0.8 to 1.5 or 1.6, as well as how much we improve the organic nitrogen, which is extremely important in this sandy soil. It becomes a slow release fertilizer. And same thing, it's proved by the nitrate in the soil. This is the grower control. This is the no nitrogen control. And these are our treatments at 3 times early in the season, at flowering stage, mid-season, and late in the season. And this is the most important part, that the nitrogen uptake by the grapes is maximum. It is during that flowering stage, from bud break to the flowering stage, and we see we have the maximum nitrogen provided by the vermicompost at the rate of 4 and 8. So in conclusion, we think that vermicompost could be a very important organic amendment that used in the grape production. It's also, you can recycle the material in the vineyards by producing these, by the moss and all the residues, and convert it to the vermicompost, improve the soil organic matter. And our suggestion is this mid rate of 4 tons per hectare under wine. Vermicompost tea, we applied it at the standard rate and at the high rate. So 24 hours, 1/13 ratio of the vermicompost versus the water, 24 hours brew it, and then we spray it on the grapes. And we look at all these different aspects. Here you see the example on the soluble solids. When we apply it 8 times at the standard rate, and we have the lower rate that we diluted to the half, but the standard rate 8 times, which was every 2 weeks we spray that. We got some positive effect on the soluble solids, and some of the other TSS lower TA, resulting in the balanced acidity and sweetness, as well as the powdery mildew significantly reduced. So the grower, rather than 9 times application that the grower had, we had only 2 times application in August. 5 minutes. Seaweed extract. Again, everybody question about seaweed extract. A lot of advertisement by the company. We use different rates of seaweed extract, 2.5 versus 5 liter per hectare. And we sprayed 3 times versus 6 times at different stages of the growth. We saw some effect. We had 2 sites in BC and in Nova Scotia. As you see, some years it shows some effect on the quality, some years it didn't. We also measured the cold hardiness. Again, in some years it shows some effect, improve the cold hardiness. In some other years, didn't. So it wasn't consistent results, but this is an example that you see that when we apply this 6 times, 2.5, it's improved the bricks number. So the results were not very consistent, but it shows some limited effect on the fruit quality and cold hardiness. Summarize everything in this table. I thought this is helpful to kind of look at everything. And the effect of these treatments that we use on the yield, fruit quality, petiole nitrogen, soil carbon nitrogen, soil nitrate and ammonium, and the recommendations. So vermicompost tea, the first one, it was very positive. Almost all these parameters positively improved, but a very low rate of vermicompost. So 4 tons per hectare, which is the fresh weight, it would be, depend on the moisture, 8 to 3 tons of fresh weight. If you use it annually, you get all these benefits. Vermicompost tea, the effect on the yield, some years a little bit positive, some years not. But fruit quality, we got some positive effect, as well as petiole nitrate, very positive effect when we apply the vermicompost tea. On soil, because we sprayed on the plant, we didn't expect any effect on the soil carbon nitrogen. So the recommendation was 8 spray at the standard rate of 1 to 13 ratio, 24 hours brewing. Seaweed extract in BC, no effect on the yield. Some years, some positive effect on the fruit quality, no effect on the petiole nitrogen or soil. But if you want to get some positive effect on the fruit quality, it's the 6 time spray at 2.5 liter, which was the lower rate. And even literature, it says you can go up to the 1 liter per hectare. In Nova Scotia, again, it's very similar effect than BC, not very consistent, but 6 times spray at 2.5 liter. We got 2 publications and 3 or 4 more coming. We're working on that. And we would like to thank you, the CGCN, BC Wine Grape Council, Acadia Seedplant that provided the seaweed extract, Green Sciences provided the vermicompost tea, Prenia and Artera, Wine Canada, and Blasted Church that they allow us to use their vineyard. And many people collaborated in this project. Thank you so much.